Hi my beauties, today I'm back at you with a new video, and that topic is actually very close to my heart because I really wanted to discuss something that has a meaning to me and something that I learned from. So my topic today will basically be 5 things that you might regret with time. What I wanted to talk about is about those type of things that every day we think that we can do and we don't do, and maybe in a few years time, in 10 years, 20 years, even maybe later around 60, 70, we might actually regret and think that we should have done them when time was right. So these are the 5 things mostly that I learned from, and I would advise you to strongly change in your life if you are not doing them right now. So the first one is actually putting yourself into the wrong relationship. This one is definitely the closest to me because I've had quite a good record about finding the people that were not good for me actually. And from the moment I reached more or less 18 until the time I met my husband at 29, I kind of had a good collection of people that was not meant for me. So it doesn't mean that I am not a good person or they're not good people or something like this. It's nothing like that actually. It's more the fact that sometimes you start a relationship and you know from scratch that that relationship might never last. Just sometimes because you're too different, or because you don't like the same things, or because you don't even have the same way of thinking about the future. And because a lot of us are always scared about being alone at some point in their life, we tend to make more efforts maybe than what we should do, just by fear of ending up single again. So about 10 years ago when I was younger, I was very much not happy about my curves the way I am now, probably not feeling the same way about myself. And it did happen a lot of times that I was accepting relationships that were not meant for me just because I was really scared that me and my extra weight would not find another relationship in time. So yes, this is definitely the first point that I would like to tell you about. It's just that if you feel that you're not at the right place with the right person, it is not always needed to try over and over again to make it right. Sometimes 2 people can be very good people separately, but that doesn't mean that they're making a good 2 together. So think about this one twice and try to make it right for yourself. There's always a happy ending somewhere. So my second advice would be try to spend more time with your loved ones. It's always too easy to think that we have time when time is right, or oh yes, that Sunday in 3 weeks I will find a bit of time for you, or okay, that's fine, I didn't call my mom for 2 weeks, but yeah, she knows I love her. No, this is not the type of thing that we should do actually. If you think about your mom, send her a message, call her. Don't think that in about 2 weeks will be okay because anyway she knows. That's the same for your father, your grandparents, your best friends, anyone around you that you have loved so much for all these past years and matters to you. Take the time for them. Even more important if you're in a marriage or in a very serious relationship, take the time for those people, because you cannot accept that one day those people will run away from you because you will never find time for them. I actually live abroad, and I live more than 2,000 kilometers away from my family and my friends. So it's very difficult sometimes to keep in touch or do it very regularly because everybody's getting caught up in their lives and work and families and everything you have to do. But it's not always a reason, and you have to remember that those people have been here for you, and you don't want to end up regretting one day the fact that you haven't spent the time, especially that when it's the case of elderly people, they are getting old, you are getting old, but they are too, and sometimes we don't always have your life around and all these years to make it right. So I learned it lately actually because I lost my grandfather about 5 months ago, and that has been very, very tough on me. But what has been maybe the toughest, I would say, is the fact that actually when I was younger and I should have spent all that time, I was more focused on myself, my career, the things I had to do, the other people I had to see, and maybe I didn't make the time I should have done. So if you want to live with yourself right and with your mind feeling good about yourself, I would strongly suggest that you give more time to the people you love. Well, that was the second advice. The third one that I would like to give you about is having a healthy lifestyle, stop thinking that being unhealthy is never going to catch you at some point. When you're in your 20s, it's okay, you know. You take 2 kilos, you lose 3, you take 10, you lose 15, your body is reacting very well to everything, and it's very easy to shed the pounds and go back to your normal weight and all this type of things, thinking that you can have McDonald's 5 days a week and then just eat 2 vegetables and suddenly everything is back and you have a good lifestyle. Well, don't think so, because at some point this will come back to you. Your bones will not be as strong as they used to, your breath might shorten, the overweight, for example, which is in my case here, might be different to bear and more difficult. With years can happen a lot of different things, like pain in the joint, having issues running, walking, all this type of things basically that we don't think about when we are 20. And even now, sometimes at 32, I'm like thinking that I still have time, but it's not true. Sometimes I can notice that I have pain in my knees that I didn't have in the past, or maybe that the overweight I have, and God knows I'm pretty proud of my curves, that's not a problem, but sometimes it's hard to bear it, and I have pain in my back, and sometimes my breast is too large, or it's giving me pain in the back, and all this type of things. But when you're young, you just think that, oh yes, you have a nice cleavage, for example. So it's all those little things here and there that make you think sometimes that you can give a break to yourself and always enjoy, but at some point your body will give you the consequences of all those nights out, not taking care of yourself, not doing any gym, not taking good care of yourself, and that's it. So this is the third one, and it's definitely, please do not have an unhealthy lifestyle. Think about the future on this level. Number 4 is something that probably we all think about, but that nobody really does, is actually make your time valuable and do things that matters. We always think that we always have time for things. Oh, that's okay, if I don't do it this year, I will do it next year. Or it's fine, you know, or let's postpone it, let's do it next week. A project, outing, sometimes with the family, like I was saying earlier. Well, stop postponing. It doesn't always bring any good, and it's not productive, let's be honest. It's just that we always think that there is always some time for tomorrow, and that, okay, tomorrow is another day, but sometimes I'm going to be very honest, you know, I can be also lazy, you know. I do a lot of things, I have my work and I do some extra work on the top of it. I work online, we do the YouTube videos, my husband and I work very closely on this, but I do happen to be very lazy at times. There's some Saturdays, Sundays where I just want to lie down, watch my series and not move, etc. And my husband is always like, yeah, but you need to stop postponing this type of things, you gave yourself a deadline and you can't say that tomorrow is going to be better. Well, I don't always like it, but I know he's right, because it's not very productive for me to be just lying down in bed and watching series. I know it, I feel I need it, but is that bringing me anything in the end? Not that much. Apart from having a great culture about every series possible, I'll probably do an extra video about that actually, because my culture on that level is pretty high. But despite this, is it bringing me something to my own self? Did I feel this feelings like I achieved something? Not that much. So yes, I would say stop postponing, keep learning, keep taking the time to discover new things, time for yourself, even pamper yourself a bit more. Anything that can do good for yourself, actually do it. But yeah, stop thinking that that there will be a tomorrow, because we never know actually. And the last one, which is not least actually, is probably one of the most important, is don't stay in your comfort zone. Get out of it. Prove yourself sometimes that you can be wrong, or prove yourself that you can do better at time. It's stop staring at life, just act, you know. Don't always contemplate things from your level, from your sofa, from wherever you are, and think that this is right, because there is always a way to do better. And when we're young, it's very, very easy, because we're like, oh yeah, I'm still too young to do that, so in about 10 years I could do this, or that's okay, I don't need to have kids now, maybe I can do it in 5 years. Or yeah, there's a lot of everyday actions, everyday life moments that we decide to postpone, to stay in our comfort zone because we don't feel like it's the right moment, or that we don't want to challenge yourself. Like me and my weight, for example. I don't want sometimes to lose weight. I am on this journey for the past, I would say almost 4 years, because I changed a lot since I met my husband. It took time, and about myself first, how I love myself, how I was dressing, my hair and all of that, my lifestyle, how I changed my way of eating. But how many times did I had to challenge myself? Believe me, it was so tough, because if I would have been listening to myself, believe me, I was very good where I was. I was wearing leggings all the time. I didn't need to wonder if I was fitting in the trousers. I was just like thinking that I was eating right because I was eating vegetables, but I probably didn't even check the amount of fat I was eating next to that. There's a lot of things that I was just probably doing wrong, or actually most certainly doing wrong. But because I was cool in my confidence and next to that I was a pretty good person, let's be honest. I was doing a lot of things. I had a good job. I was very motivated. I had a lot of friends, being very social and all this type of things. So keeping my comfort zone on that level was kind of right, but I didn't know how wrong I was until my husband challenged me so much. So I'm not going to say that it didn't bring a lot of bickering and a lot of me feeling offended and trying to reject everything you were saying, but overall, and even if I keep doing it a bit of some from time to time, I actually grew a lot, and I would never go backward if I had to choose. 10,000 times a better person than I was 5 years ago. I hope that in 5 years from now I will be even 10,000 times better than I am right now. But let's be honest, people who sometimes are tough at you are not automatically the wrong people for you. They're also the ones that need to challenge you. And let's be honest, not everything comes easy. So instead of always feeling angry at those people, sometimes you should feel blessed that they take the time to make things right for you and not only for themselves. So well, that's all for today. I guess I discussed my 5 main advice about things that you might regret in the future if you don't start them right now. So I hope you liked this video, and if you are happy with what I said, or if you want actually to add some comments about it, please feel free to comment. Don't forget to like and share also, and remember that you still have to follow my Instagram page at KervyLexi28. So that is all for today. I wish you all a good evening and have a blessed day, and take good care of yourself. All the best, my dears. All the best, my lovelies. Bye.